Number 21 Notre Dame stomps out number 10 USC 48-20. It is not a stretch to say this is the worst game that we have ever seen Caleb Williams play, because many of us didn't watch him play at Gonzaga College, and I'm willing to bet he wasn't as bad there as he was tonight in South Bend. Threw 3 interceptions in this game, and all 3 were in the first half, and had a forced fumble at the end. The worst half to go along with the worst game that Caleb Williams ever played, which is another way of saying Al Golden's defense absolutely came, what do the kids say? Strapping in Caleb Williams, led by Xavier Watts, who had not 1, but 2 interceptions in this game, 6 tackles, that forced fumble recovery, a TD, and a pass defended, playing out of his mind, coming out of Omaha, Nebraska. Yeah, Nebraska fans, you had a shot at the senior, and he's over there at Notre Dame doing the damn thing, because it's bigger than just those 2 interceptions. It's that Caleb Williams had thrown just 1 interception all year against Colorado in what was a 48-41 win, throwing 2, let alone in the first half. And to the same man, yeah, you keep that football if you are Xavier Watts. And frankly, the offense didn't do much for Notre Dame. It was the defense that was continuing to keep Lincoln Riley's high-powered offense in check. Again, I got to tip a hat to Al Golden here, who I didn't know that he could pull this one out. But then I remember Al Golden got to see what it was like for the Cincinnati Bengals to go up against Patrick Mahomes. And as Caleb Williams is still probably slotted to be the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 draft, and the most readily available comp to him is Patrick Mahomes, maybe Al Golden had a really great opportunity ahead of him that we just didn't know he had in his bag. Maybe he had been planning for this game all year, and you can understand why. USC Notre Dame is a traditional rivalry and a tremendously big game, but it became bigger when Notre Dame lost to Ohio State in South Bend and then lost to Louisville on the road. So they're at 2 losses. And I had said, winning this game is not just going to do a bunch for Marcus Freeman and him going into the rest of the season, let alone 2024, but for Notre Dame fans themselves, because you would be the team that not only handed USC its first loss, but probably took away the Heisman Trophy from the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. Archie Griffin, Buckeye that you are, light up a cigar tonight, courtesy of Notre Dame, because I don't think we're going to see the first 2-time Heisman winner since Archie Griffin after the performance that we saw from Caleb Williams tonight. You got the special teams involved with the kickoff return for touchdown from Jadarian Price. Again, the defense was outstanding. Audric Estime looked great. We're already hearing about Jeremiah Love and what some NFL evaluators are looking at him to do as a true freshman. But with 4 general managers representing NFL teams at South Bend tonight, you got to believe that they were all watching number 13 at USC. And I think a lot of guys playing defense for Notre Dame absolutely made themselves some money and moved up in the draft based on what they did against Lincoln Riley's offense tonight. Again, this offense for USC had been the reason it was a top 10 team, and Caleb Williams, the reason that offense goes. It is not a stretch to say we haven't seen a Lincoln Riley game this bad in quite some time. As a matter of fact, I think we can take it back to his time at Oklahoma and not have seen a game this bad for a Lincoln Riley coach team. I mean, even against LSU in the 2019 Peach Bowl, Oklahoma put up 28 points. This USC team was held to 20. It's a USC team that had put up 40 or more points in every game it had played until now. Again, I would say that it's not whether or not you are going to score 40, it's whether or not you're going to give up 40. Turns out they gave up 48 and could only score 20 because they could barely move the football. Even when you were getting a little bit from Zachariah Branch, even when you were getting a little bit from Austin Jones, from Mario Williams, you couldn't quite turn those things into sustainable drives. And when you could, you were giving the ball away. Again, tremendous play from the defense at Notre Dame. 5 turnovers that defense forced. 6 sacks of the Heisman winner at quarterback. I think if we saw this Notre Dame team against Louisville, we're probably having a different conversation about what's left for Notre Dame to do. But again, 2-loss team. You go all the way through the rest of your schedule. You see how things shake out. Maybe you get into a New Year's Six bowl game here. But the story going forward from here, and as far as what we're interested in, which is who's going to win the national championship, still includes USC. Because as cool as it is for Notre Dame to get this victory in South Bend, where they got to shoot off the fireworks and tell Fight On to send it all right back to LA, this was a non-conference game for USC, which is to say they're still undefeated in a very, very deep and very, very competitive Pac-12. And they could still very well end up in the Pac-12 championship game. And if they won the Pac-12 championship game with this one loss, I could still see them getting into the college football playoff with an invitation because Caleb Williams is still that guy. Even if he played the worst game that he's played of his career, he's still a guy that you don't necessarily want to pick against, even though I will also add to you, Notre Dame was favored going into this game. I didn't think it was because the defense was so stout, but it is. USC, though, has games left against Washington, Oregon, and Utah. All three of those teams are capable of beating USC. Can they? Will they? Those are two different questions, right? I think that we still haven't seen the best of Utah, which is a scary thought because they're managing to win football games without Cam Rising, their quarterback. And now that we're halfway through the season, you got to start asking, are we going to see Cam Rising at all going in through the rest of 2023? Now, we could, but the bye week for Utah has come and gone, and they were able to get it done earlier today against Cal, putting up 34 points. And by the way, through 6 games, Utah has allowed just, 73 points scored, which is the fewest that a Utah program has allowed through 6 games since 1994. Another way USC is going to run into what I think is a Pac-12 buzzsaw. Washington, we'll talk about a little bit later on, but they're giving everybody everything they want. The same thing is true of Oregon. And now we're learning that even the bottom of the Pac-12 is still pretty damn good, meaning Stanford, meaning Arizona. We'll see about Cal and what they might turn out to be a little bit later on. But I'm not going to be heavily favoring any of these Pac-12 teams against each other. And that's kind of what this is going to turn into. The Pac-12 is going to have a bloodletting because it's going to do what the Big 12 has been doing for years, which is eating itself alive until you only got one real champion and one real opportunity to get into the college football playoff because you ain't got no divisions and you can't lean on that, right? Right now, we're looking at Big 10 having Iowa sitting atop the Big 10 West standings without their starting quarterback available because the defense is so good. I think Lincoln Riley will learn from this that he has to get Caleb Williams some more protection, but I don't know how because there are no 7 protection schemes in Lincoln Riley's offense, and the defense isn't getting any better. And if they lost Max Williams for the rest of the season, an outstanding safety for them, that's going to not help them at all. So you're really asking that defense to do something it hasn't done all year to help you win these football games, which is stop people and keep them from scoring. Again, USC could end up going 11-1 the rest of the way. They could also end up going 7-5. That is what their schedule looks like. They have one of the toughest schedules left in college football. Now, will they be ranked inside the top 10 after this tomorrow? Well, I'll have my rankings out tomorrow or later tonight on Fox Sports, on the Fox Sports app if you are so inclined. But certainly we will talk about it on our rankings show right here live at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, give or take. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.